Yesterday, Nostalgia Critic dropped the review, Doug Walker that is, dropped the review for Batman Forever. And quite honestly, Batman Forever may have its critics and have its moments, but I think anybody would agree that, in a way, when you put certain people behind the scenes behind it, it turns out to be the perfect blend of a movie that you would like. It's got what made Batman and Batman Return iconic, but it also has a side of Batman that's more lighthearted, more family-friendly. So, when you watch the Batman movies, especially the 90s ones, here's what's funny about all of them. When you take a look at Batman's love interest, or any kind of potential love interest in the film for either Batman or even Robin, there is one thing there's always something different about the love interest. You know, when you look at Vicky Vale, she's a very, how do you put Vicky? Very serious kind of, well, I wouldn't say serious, but more of a down-to-earth, wanting to get the facts, kind of April O'Neil-like character. Yes, she's beautiful. Yes, she's attractive. And yes, she does become the potential love interest of Bruce Wayne. Heck, I think there's a scene where they freaking screw together or something like that in the movie, but we don't see it. It's just indicated in a scene that comes after. But then you take a look at Batman Returns. You have Selina Kyle, Catwoman, played by Michelle Pfeiffer. Great choice, great acting of the split personality, hide the alter ego kind of deal, until they both reveal each other's identity in a slow dance at a party towards the end of the film. But then you get Batman Forever. And I'll get back to that in a moment. Because when you go to the Batman and Robin that came 2 years later, Robin is the one that potentially gets a love interest in a retconned alternate version of Barbara Gordon, who becomes Batgirl. Barbara Pennyworth, I think is the name they gave her, because she's not related to the Commissioner Gordon in this universe. She's related to Alfred, but she's still the same Barbara, apparently, that becomes Batgirl. Yeah, Joe Schumacher, no offense, my friend, but you need to look up information a lot better, you know what I'm saying? Now, with that said though, let's go back 2 years prior to Batman and Robin to Batman Forever. And even though it takes to almost, the middle of the film? Towards the end of the film or something, like the third act of the film? Nicole Kidman, who's one of the brightest actresses in the world, one of the best well-known actresses in the world, I think has won Academy Awards herself. Nicole Kidman plays Dr. Meridian Chase. And Nicole's a great actress. No matter what kind of role you give her, she can deliver. There's no doubt about that. But there's always been a problem when it comes to an actress being put in a certain role that you feel they shouldn't be put in. What's that role, you may ask? Well, Nicole's character is a doctor, a psychiatrist, a therapist, if you will. But yet, when we first see her, in the first act and somewhat in the second act, she's portrayed as having a more kinkier side. Yeah. What do I mean by more kinkier? How about the fact that she falsely calls Bruce Wayne via Batman signal, basically Batman himself, via Batman signal, just so she can get it on with him. I'm not kidding. They basically, there is a scene in Batman Forever where Nicole Kidman basically falsely calls Batman via bat signal just so she can get it on with him because she's infatuated with him. And like I said, it isn't until the third act of the film where she finally has a bit of a conflict and realizes maybe there is something different. Maybe there's someone else out there that she's more attracted to, and it doesn't have to be on a BDSM level. I'm not joking. There's a line in there. There is a line when she does that, when she uses the bat signal to call Batman. There's a line in there towards the end where she talks about using a whip. Seriously. And you think her, as a matter of fact, she does. She does figure it out when she kisses Bruce Wayne, that both him and Batman are one and the same. Yeah, she does figure that out in the third act. In the third act. But you see, this is a problem I have with actresses being portrayed as love interests in a film sometimes. Mostly superhero films. And it's not just the actresses either. It's the characters on screen. It's like the directors, the writers, they just don't know what to do with said character. It's like, yeah, they can give said character an important role on how to do this and that, or basically an important role of being a psychiatrist, a doctor, a detective, whatever. But yet, when they need to fill the void, the background void of what else they are besides the role they're established to be in, what do they do? What do they do, folks? I tell you what they do. They take that character, and at most times, when the opportunity presents itself and they got nothing else to write for that character, what do? They write that character into a situation that no one likes. I mean, look, I'm not saying Nicole Kidman hasn't been in roles to where people might say, would be asking, why would you put her in that? Why would you have her portrayed like that? It don't make sense. It don't fit her character. And it's true. And it's definitely true. There have been several movies before and after Batman Forever where she's been portrayed like that, and nobody likes it. Nobody likes it. The point is, it's not just Nicole Kidman. It's anybody else that gets put in that role. It's like, oh, well, what else? It's like the directors, no offense, are like, oh, well, what else can we give this character besides making her a psychiatrist or a nurse or a detective or a private eye? What else can we give her? I mean, can you imagine that meeting going like, what else can we give that character? And then someone says, well, I don't know. She's portrayed as being beautiful and everything, and according to this research we did, she apparently can be attracted to the main superhero. Hey, that's a good... And can you just imagine the response of, hey, I think we got an idea there. Let's make the rest of her have a secret fetish for wanting to get it on with said superhero. Heck, let's have her even falsely call said superhero to a certain location just so she could try to get it on with them. And I don't mean that by any offense, Lord. Dear God, I don't mean any offense by that. But that's basically what it feels like sometimes when people don't do the research on certain characters. I mean, even if you create the character exclusively for the movie or even the show or the whatever, you need to have more to them than just, oh, well, they're a private eye, they're a detective, they're a nurse, they're a doctor, and oh, by the way, they also have a secret fetish side to them to where they like to a secret fetish side to them because when they get attracted to a certain someone, namely a hero, they like to get it on with them right then and there. It's like, seriously. That is the one problem I have with this. The one problem I have is they don't treat female love interest in films with respect that they deserve. Whether you create that female love interest just exclusively for that story, or for that movie, for that adaptation of said comic or whatever, it's like they don't treat the love interest with any respect, unless potentially that love interest ends up getting a power of her own. But then, here's what's funny about that. Even if said love interest gets a power on her own, they will come up with the craziest of powers for said character, that knowing how sometimes they would portray her, they basically let her have some mischiefy fun with said power, to try to get the attention of said hero. I'm not lying about that. I'm not lying. Heck, you want a good example? Batman Brave and the Bold. We had an episode with the Metal Men in there. Well, Platinum Girl turns herself into a freaking chair and tells Batman, hey, take a seat on the best seat around. Look, I'm not saying that when actresses, well-renowned actresses or up-and-coming actresses are portrayed in roles or given roles of established characters, or even characters meant only for said adaptation, I'm not saying that that their characters they portray are not treated with respect and given the proper introduction and backgrounds and all that. There are several cases where that is true. But the point that I'm getting at is, from what I've seen from even the late 80s, mostly through the 90s, and even up to today, through the past 28 years, I'm going to put it that way, and even going on, when a director casts somebody, when somebody writes a script, and that screenwriter and the director cast a certain somebody in that role, they need to do research on how they want to portray that character. Because you can't just portray a character by saying, oh, they're this and that, and not have something else for them to be, or to fall back on. You need to give that character personality. You can't just have part of the personality be of the kinky fetish side, to where, like I said, in Batman Forever, they'll falsely use the signal, a hero's signal, to call them to the location just so they could try to get it on with them then and there. I mean, here's what's funny about Nicole Kidman's character in Batman Forever. The scene where she admits that she's now attracted to Bruce Wayne, when is the first time we see her when Bruce goes to her as Batman to see whether or not there's something there? We see her lying in bed under her sheets, naked, or supposedly naked. Usually, people have a little bit more respect for women when it comes to scenes and scenarios like that. With all due respect. Okay? The point is, like I said, I have nothing against Nicole Kidman's role in this movie. I think she did a great job. It's just, I think the way they portrayed her, outside of being a doctor, a therapist, psychiatrist, whatever, and having her develop this more BDSM side of her, even if it's just for 2 acts, if you will, of the film, the first 2 acts of the film, I think they could have done more. I don't think they had to go to that level. And look, I'm not saying that it was a bad choice of what direction they wanted to go with when it came to her character. I'm just saying they could have done something more. I mean, she's a freaking therapist and a doctor. It shouldn't take a kiss to Bruce Wayne, between her and Bruce Wayne, for her to figure out 2 and 2. What she should have figured out right then and there is why Bruce Wayne would disappear, Batman would show up. Heck, it should have dawned on her during that one, when they went to that, that presentation that Nigma put together for his box device. The point is, she should have figured out when Bruce disappeared and Batman showed up that, wait a minute, 2 and 2 is together. It should have made sense. It shouldn't take a kiss. But then again, that's a tradition in superhero films. Go figure. The thing is, though, they could have done a lot more with her character besides just make her a doctor and therapist that behind the scenes has a very kinkish fetish, has a very kinky fetish side to her. Because believe me, in the real world, if any of my colleagues, because what I'm trying to say is, in the real world, if any therapist or any doctor, therapist, or psychiatrist colleagues found out about her background or found out about what she did to get Batman's attention at first, Meridian would have been out the door, or before you know it, she would have been given her walking papers and out the door, and not just out the door where she was working, but she'd be out the door or the whole psychiatrist, therapist, doctor field. She would be gone. And that's reality. But, as I said, they could have done more with her character besides give her that side. Again, not saying it was a bad choice if they felt that was the best way to go. But still, you got to think of this. You're trying to make it family friendly at that time. You think kids are going to understand what she means by whip? Or kids are going to figure out why did she call Batman? I'm just saying. Calling him the way she did. Again, like I said, even to this day, you have characters that when they are showcased in a show or a movie, whether it's animated or live action, either they're based on a character from said comic or whatever adaptation, whatever franchise is being adapted, or they're just made for said show or movie. Even to this day, certain characters are portrayed in a way, female love interests are portrayed in a way that, at first looks okay, makes them look good, makes them look respectful, but then later on, you start noticing that there's a side of them that doesn't make any sense. Like I said, if you're going to have someone be portrayed as a doctor or a therapist, why would you have them secretly have this kinky fetish side of the BDS, of almost levels of BDSM? I'm just saying. The point is, hopefully, and it looks like they are getting more respect. I'm not going to deny that, but hopefully, as time goes on, the way female love interest in movies are portrayed, hopefully they will have more depth put to them. Hopefully they will be given more background, and hopefully they'll be taken more seriously. Now, I'm not saying they aren't being taken seriously, but hopefully a character that's either from an established franchise, whether it's a comic book, a video game, whatever, or they're made originally exclusively for said adaptation, hopefully we won't have to see them being treated in a way that at first you think you could take them seriously, but then you find out they have this side of them that's like, why? Don't make sense. Even Doug as the nostalgia critic, along with The Last Angry Geek, and even as they're doing a first viewing of Batman Forever between Doug and Rob, even there you could kind of see the reaction on their faces like, why? Why would you portray Nicole Kidman's character in this manner? I'm just saying. So I guess what I'm trying to get at, because I know I sound like I'm rambling and stuff, is hopefully as we get further and further into the superhero genre and adaptation of any other kind of franchise, as being seen over the past decade and continues to be seen, hopefully we will get further and further away from potential female love interests being portrayed in a way to where you think they could be taken seriously because of the role they are given and the occupation said character they portray is given, but then all of a sudden have this secret fetish, kinky side, whatever. Hopefully we get further and further away from that, because even to this day, despite you have the respectable portrayals of Black Widow and Wasp and Wonder Woman and Scarlet Witch and so on, you still have those moments. You still have certain characters being portrayed certain ways that they shouldn't. So hopefully the more we get from superhero adaptations or adaptations of video games or whatever, the better certain love interest, female love interest for the superhero or for the main hero or whatever, the main protagonist, will be treated better and not just one-dimensional like they did with Nicole Kidman in Batman Forever, only for her to the character development they finally gave her went into the third act. I mean, come on, you don't want to wait that long. You want to be invested in a character for the whole movie. So hopefully we get less of what Nicole Kidman's character was like in Batman Forever and more of what we're getting like with Scarlet Witch, Black Widow, Wonder Woman, Supergirl, and Wasp, and even I think and even Dagger. So hopefully here's to that, and that's all I'm going to say, folks. So let me know what you all think down below. Comment if you like. I'm out.